This is Susan Wilbanks with blendedinsight.com. I am a holistic and integrative healing arts practitioner, an intuitive, and an energy healer. In this podcast, I share tips, tools, and suggestions that have helped me along my path in hopes of inspiring and helping you along yours. Let's get started with today's podcast topic.
Hello, bright soul. Thank you so much for joining me on this beautiful day. I'm looking outside my window. The leaves are turning all different colors. They're falling. It's that time of year. It's beautiful this time of year. I spent a couple of hours yesterday raking pine needles and bagging up leaves, and I really don't mind it. It's just part of the shedding process, and we have so much to learn, or that we can learn in nature if we choose to. And my daughter and I had went up to the mountains. We did a little weekend getaway to celebrate one of her accomplishments, and we went and got in the hot springs, which is one of my favorite things to do. And in this particular area, they have an amusement park on the mountain, and the altitude messes with us a little bit sometimes. Here and there, it really just depends. But right now, since it's fall, the air is pretty crisp in the mornings. It's a little thinner. And so I believe they say this amusement park is supposed to be like the highest amusement park in the world or something, just because it's up there on the mountain. So you have to take a gondola to get up to the amusement park. And then once you get up there, it's very poorly staffed. It used to not be that way, but I understand everything's short staffed. So it's a little bit of a wait in the lines. Some of the rides are closed just due to staffing. So it's a little weird. But in any case, they have one of my favorite roller coasters up there. And it's this mountain coaster that you control the speed. So it's a single rider. I think you can have two riders, but I would say that they're pretty small little cars on the track, so I don't think I would get in it with another adult, maybe a kid. In any case, you move the handles either up or down to brake or go fast. And so from the beginning of when I've ever got on this roller coaster, the mountain coaster is what they call it, I say don't brake, because you want to get the full experience. Now, a couple times I thought I might have hurt my back coming around the corners because I refused to brake. And so my challenge was always with my daughter, don't brake, do not brake. And she was always braking on the track. So this time I said, I'm going to challenge you not to brake. It's fun when you're going really fast, you're picking up the momentum. I've got a little bit of that daredevil in me. I used to totally be an adrenaline junkie. I used to ride roller coasters. The top biggest roller coaster was never too big for me, because I grew up with brothers who pushed me to do that. My father was the same way, and so I kind of passed it on to my daughter. In any case, this time, she did not brake. However, that night, she thought her back was bruised. But she did say it was fun when she didn't brake. You know, my brother used to challenge me when we would do go-karts. He told me once, it was my first time driving the go-kart by myself, and I was in high school, and he was barely 18. He was in the Army, and I was coming to visit. And I said, I've never driven a go-kart by myself. I was a little nervous. And he was like, there's only one rule. I said, what is the rule? He said, don't brake. And I thought, what? And then he drove off, and I'm like, oh my gosh. So that's where I get it from. In any case, so we're walking around, and it had been maybe 2 years since I've been to this amusement park. We used to go a couple times a year, and they had, since we went last, they had added a new roller coaster. Now, the last time we went, they had just put in this new ride, and it was called the Haunted Mind Drop. And I thought, what is that? I mean, because it's kind of a kid-friendly amusement park, so I thought it can't be that bad. Well, they put this free fall ride inside a cave, and I love free falls. Those are so fun for me. One of my favorite rides when we were in Texas was a free fall. We used to go to this amusement park called ZDT's, and also the one Fiesta Texas, which is Six Flags in San Antonio. So I was so excited. I'm like, oh yeah, let's go. But the difference is you go inside a cave, so it's very dark and you can't see anything around you. You can't even see your hand in front of your face. And they told us this weird story. So you're looking forward at this weird, like, skeleton, scary story thing, which I'm not into that, but I didn't know what it was. So, and then at the end of the story, it dropped us in the cave. And I wasn't expecting that drop. And I just was disoriented because it was so dark. And that thing dysregulated my nervous system. I was shaking. I did not like it, and that's not like me. So I said, I'm never going on that thing again. I don't know what's wrong with it, but I didn't like it. And my daughter was like, are you sure you don't want to try it again? I'm like, I'm never getting on that again. Like, something was weird. Well, there was a tragic accident on that ride shortly. I guess they didn't buckle someone in. I don't know. So now they renamed it, called the Crystal Cove Free Fall. And I thought, nice try. It kind of is haunted now. And so I don't want to go in that thing. So my daughter and I were having this conversation about the rides, and we stumble on a new roller coaster that they built. And friends, I don't like to do spinning rides anymore. I used to be able to do it, but as we get older, our equilibrium changes. And the last time I did a roller coaster that had a lot of loops and a lot of spinning, my equilibrium was off and I didn't feel right for almost the entire day. So because of that, I'm a little gun shy with roller coasters that do a lot of craziness, even though I used to love them. So I'm with her and she's like, let's go on this new roller coaster. And I look at it and, it's off the mountain and it goes straight up with a really steep drop. And then it looks like it does a couple of loops. And then, so it's a short roller coaster. But I look at her and I'm like, I don't know if I can do loops right now with the altitude. I'm a little nervous that it's going to throw me off for the whole day. And then she's like, well, it doesn't look like it's that, but she really wants to go. So I'm like, okay, we can go. We'll do it. So we're waiting in line and I'm getting nervous. I'm not even going to lie. I was sweating. You start getting nervous. I don't know, my mouth's starting to water. I'm like, oh man. Then the closer we get and we're watching other people get off and there's people crying and people don't look like they look like it scared them. And I'm like, oh my gosh. Anyway, but I thought, I don't know if my response this time will be the same as it was years ago. Our bodies are always changing. Our capacity is changing. We're always at different spaces in our lives, and it's just a roller coaster, right? So I have to talk to myself about, you're going to be fine. You've been on way bigger roller coasters, which you used to enjoy. It's just because of the altitude and also my age, because of my experience. I don't like to speak things into existence. I don't like for someone to say, when you get to be this age, this is going to happen for you, because it may not be true for me. We're all different. So I don't like getting into those mental ruts where someone pushes something into your mind and you just accept it. I don't ever want that to be me, which is why I would do it before and then get off and go, hey, wait a minute, I don't feel right. So anyway, so my daughter's like, oh, it's going to be fun. So the closer we start getting to the front, there was a person in front of us, this little girl, and she was crying. She was really scared. And, so we're dealing with her anxiety. And then my daughter turns to me and was like, I'm so anxious. She's like, I am so anxious. And I'm still the mother. So I have to say, it'll be fine. Don't worry about it. I said, I'm not going to lie. I'm anxious too. The closer we get, because people, it's off the mountain. We're way up there. If you're afraid of heights, don't go to this place. Anyway, so then it's finally our turn, and the people that are working the ride, my daughter was like, these must be like band kids or something, I guess, because of the way they were behaving. They were young, but they were so immature, and they were telling these cornball jokes to each other, and very, very incredibly unprofessional, ignoring people in line, taking their time. And so it's our turn to get on, and they're doing a staff turnover, and they're just arguing with each other. And so it's taking a really long time just to let us on the roller coaster, of course, when it's our time. And my legs are shaking by now. I thought, oh my gosh, I have to get on this thing and get this thing over with. It's mental torture at this point, just waiting on it. And I'm using a very trivial example to illustrate how important it is to self-soothe and talk to yourself and push yourself through it. I'm not going to get out of line at this point. I'm not going to step aside because I know it's going to be fine. So we finally get on, and it starts that climb, and it is a steep climb. And so I just closed my eyes. I'm not looking around. I'm just going to close my eyes. It's been years since I've got on a roller coaster like this. And you know what? Our stomach dropped like crazy. But it was fun and it was over and we put it behind us. And I was really proud of myself for pushing myself through that because of my previous experience of feeling dizzy the whole day, because I didn't. And I think a big part of it was talking to myself. You're going to be fine. You're going to get through this. It's going to be over quickly. It's good to challenge yourself. See if you still have that equilibrium thing. Maybe you don't. Your body changes. You've been working really hard. You're strong. It doesn't have to apply to you. Just because it happened to you once before doesn't mean it's going to happen this time. And I'm not telling you to go do something where you have bad experiences. I'm not telling you that at all. But the key here is challenging yourself and having the courage to try new things, because our bodies, our minds, and our circumstances change. And a lot of times we paralyze ourselves with our own thoughts and we just won't push ourselves. And there's no other way to grow. Growth occurs when we're uncomfortable. Growth occurs when we do hard things. And it's how you talk to yourself. Do you push yourself through it? Because if I was sitting in line reminding myself of the time when I went on another roller coaster and I was off balance for the entire day, then I would probably recreate that experience, because our minds are so powerful. And instead, I'm just saying, you know what? This is going to be fine. I'm a different person. I've adjusted to the altitude. It's going to be fine. I'm going to get through it. And I was still nervous. And that's the thing. When people get uncomfortable, that's when they want to quit. And we don't grow when we are visualizing the uncomfortable situation from the comfort of our own home or from the comfort of our meditation space. It's when the rubber meets the road. How are you challenge yourself? How do you talk to yourself? And how do you face obstacles? Mental courage is the strength to confront and work through obstacles and problems. And the only way to develop that is to actually do it. And in this time where everyone is so addicted to comfort and they're so addicted to ease and entitlement, and the world owes us something, and let's just be in a padded room and not have to interact, not have to challenge our own limiting beliefs and our own mental blocks and our own mental limitations, it's so easy to slip into that. But what I want to say is, you have so much power in your mind. Bravery can really be self-propelled through what you feed yourself, through how you push yourself. No one else can push you. You have to push yourself. There are certain things, only you know the things that you use to hold yourself back, the thoughts that hold yourself back, the experiences that you want to have, but you hold yourself back. Those are things that we often keep to ourselves because we don't want to tell other people how we're holding ourselves back. So what I'm encouraging you to do, and what I'm doing for myself, is challenging those beliefs and stepping into courage and bravery and asserting myself, trying new things, challenging my limits, seeing how far I can go. And this is the way that we grow. And so that is all I wanted to offer. Let's go into a healing. You can uncross your arms and legs, and I will turn the healing on. Okay, and so it is. And I forgot to mention that I will put a picture of the roller coaster in the video feed on YouTube for those of you that are listening on YouTube. So you probably are looking at the feed like, what's that? It's the roller coaster I'm talking about, because I'm not the best at explaining, and I forgot to mention it in the beginning because some of you might be curious. Again, it's not a big roller coaster. It's just the fact that it's on the mountain, high altitude. And the last time I went on a roller coaster like this, I was messed up for the day, but this time, no. And I really believe that it goes to show you that you change, we change. And it's having that courage to reevaluate and to push yourself to challenge your own limits, because a lot of times those limits are self-imposed and we're stronger than we think we are. And it's not just the big things, it's the little things that go into the bucket to make the big things. And oftentimes we overlook that. And that is all I had to offer. And I want to thank you for your donations. It means so much to me. And I appreciate you so much. Take care. Bye-bye.